Hey friends, buckle up for a new episode of Soul Dive. You can join Christina King and myself, Chris McCann. If the time's come for you to begin or even accelerate your inner exploration, this show might be for you. Each week, we explore the meaning of life, discover what our purpose is, or just exploring how to be happy. Soul Dive has got you covered. So join us and our guests, of course, and listen to insightful stories about where they've been and perhaps get help navigating your own path. Together, we will soul dive into the deep end of consciousness.
All right, so I don't know if this has anything to do with Hawaii on the mind, but I clearly saw this. I stand by it. I saw a volcano, an active volcano, and there is you in a skydiving plane above it, and you have like really old Evel Knievel goggles on, and you have you have a helmet, like a cool flashy helmet on, and like you're ready to go. And I'm asking what that means. And they say, well, it's okay. So if he lands in the lava, like he's going to make the most of it. If he lands in the lava, he's going to harness the energy of the source of the earth and use it to his advantage. If he lands on the desert side of the volcano, then he's going to do the same with whatever he's got. And then if he lands on the side of the volcano with trees on it, with like tropical forest or whatever, he's also going to be scavenging, and whatever tools he picks up along the way, he's not even going to consider other things. He's not going to have regrets. He's not going to have like coulda, shoulda, wouldas, anything like that. And I said, well, I need a little bit more simplified because that's kind of confusing. And they said, abundance. The word is abundance. Everything about the volcano is about abundance. And that's why volcanoes exist. Because volcanoes have a way of pressing the reset on a lot of things if they erupt. And then after they erupt, they also react to the weather on either side of the mountain. And they also produce life and energy from everything that the volcano did. I don't know what that means for you. I'm being told there's something in there for you because I myself cannot understand it completely. We can dive into that further a little bit down the road. Okay, so I saw you also walking across a lawn to like a picket fence, and you put a sign out, and on the fence it says open for business. So it's on like Donkey Kong. Like they're on board, everybody's on board, everything. And they want to note that everything is lining up in ways you can't see. So now that you're kind of open, you put the antenna up, you're ready to go. Things are starting to line up energetically. They're working behind the scenes to start bringing the people to you in the ways that they can come into your life. And you're already they said they're already kind of seeing a couple of things happening that are just like little trickles in. And you're like, oh. And the reason it's kind of firing you up is because you kind of know unconsciously that this is what's happening. They're bringing it to you. So there is work, of course, to be done as a human. But at this time, it's almost like the ball's kind of in their field, in their court. Now things are starting to be pushed towards you, your workload. And I'm not talking about corporate. I'm talking about your real work, what you're really here to do. So that's their take on there. The other thing is they want to address today on the agenda, energy sucks. Like some energy sucks in your life. Like I'm talking like sucks as a noun, not as a verb.
Yes.
On energy suck, the energy sucks. Yeah. And they want to kind of help. Actually, they're asking me to help you, like give you space to kind of wrap your head around it and give you, let you talk it out and make kind of a protocol and kind of call some things out in your mind that like, it's as simple for them to, they're saying it's as simple for you to be conscious of it and say, you know what, this is an energy suck. This is an energy suck. And even just you calling it out, it's kind of half the battle. So they do want to give you some space for that today.
Okay.
I feel like there's more. So if you don't mind, give me just another moment.
So while you're pausing, I'll let everybody know what in the hell we're doing.
You what?
I'm going to let everybody know what the hell we're doing.
Oh. Are we podcasting this?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're recording it. So, and I'll do like a proper intro, but this is where Christina is going to go back into her states and yank more information on the agenda for me. Because yes, we're going to podcast this because I think it's important that people see exactly what it is that Christina does and the gifts that she has and how she helps make this manifest. It's really important. I'm just trying to whisper so we don't disturb her while she's channeling.
Well, now I'm completely thrown, to be honest. And I'll tell you why. I feel bad. I didn't realize this was being podcast. And the fact that we didn't introduce it. So.
Oh, I'll do an introduction. Don't you worry. I've got people that do this.
At the beginning. Yeah. Okay, cool.
We have people.
Now I'm going to them. Here we go.
Okay. We have a team.
Okay. Also on the agenda is to talk about more nature stuff, more spirit stuff, because there's been spirit showing up now for you to communicate around where you're living. And so we want to talk about that. The other, and this is like indigenous again. And we want to also talk about, they want to talk about San Diego and how you can best benefit from this experience coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Chris, I turn it over to you. What would you like to dive into?
So to clarify the agenda, we have volcanoes, we have energetic sucks, we have nature and spirit and San Diego. There's just two experiences, right? So we'll start with the one in hand. But let's begin at the top of the volcano. So I know when you and I talked on the phone yesterday, just catching up, and you were on a high, and I was just like, I had significant back pain and was in a pretty medicated state. And I felt bad because you had brought all this energy and you had such an amazing experience in Oahu. And I'm like, it
did not sound like that for the record.
Okay, good.
You were quite coherent, and I was quite satisfied with the entire conversation. So
excellent. And when you are satisfied, oh,
there you go.
Shazam. And the back pain is interesting. So last Friday, I went to go see Dr. Dan, and I met Dr. Dan as part of a spirit circle a couple of years ago via an introduction. And at one point he looks at me and he's like, hey, because I'm backing up. We had, I met him, and he's a proper medium. And I just sat there in this circle with him. So this is a couple of years ago, and I'm just starting to tap in, right? So I'm very much at that point, the Barney Fife of energetic work. What does this thing do? Bam, whoops. So we're all sitting in this circle, and there's probably 50, 60 people that are there attending, pre-COVID, of course. And like, I'm buzzing. So, when the energy is just right and there's like that really fine vibration, and like, I'm feeling it. And like, I feel like energy leave my body as he's doing his work. And then I would see him like looking at me from like 15 feet away, like glance over his shoulder. And I'm like, I'm trying to not interrupt because that's not my work, right? I'm there just to learn and enjoy and see what comes through. And for whatever reason, I wasn't able to attend any other sessions, and COVID hits because I was traveling off for work. And he came to mind when friends of ours came over for dinner a couple of Saturdays ago. But I really wanted for Meredith, my wife, to go visit before I made time for myself to go do it, to help her with what she's working on, dealing with. I wanted to make sure that her oxygen mask was fastened. So where am I going with this? So we sat down and was in his office first thing Friday morning. And hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And then we just started talking a lot about racial inequality, which makes sense because that's been, topical for us and for myself. And eventually everything around us just kind of disappeared. And he's like, you feel that? And he's like, why don't you close your eyes for a second and just kind of tap in? And so he was starting to help me contextualize the physical experiences I was having with energy. And it got me thinking a lot about teachers, right? And how I'm always reluctant to ask for help, right? Nope, I got it. Right? Whether I was raising kids or doing anything else. And so me asking for help was a fairly new thing. I was like, holy shit. Like I spent an hour with this guy and like, okay. I'm like, so this is what teachers do. And then this brings me back to San Diego, right? And talking about how to best show up there and to benefit from the experiences. Because when we find the right teachers, oftentimes they help bring words or an understanding to what we're experiencing. And it allows for us to transcend. Right. It allows for us to evolve faster, right, more efficiently. I'm not sure that any of those words are really appropriate. It's like, oh, pin, right? So then you can grab that wrong and know that it's there. So that's really interesting. So coming back to San Diego and the best benefit from the experiences, we have two things. So one with Carlos coming up in just a couple of weeks, and then doing another retreat with Adam. Two very different experiences, but both outside of San Diego. So maybe we start at the end, and perhaps there is something there that I wasn't aware of, or something I wasn't ready for, as far as teachers and folks that have walked or are walking the path that might be just a little bit further ahead, and will help me help myself and help others.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was a lot of word salad right there.
Oh yeah, but I got all kinds of stuff. So I like when you go off because they respond at the same time. So okay, well we'll take it from your most recent question, which is Carlos and Adam outside of San Diego. So I feel like with Adam, you're going to turn more of the teacher role for this coming meeting. So you'll be perhaps a little more active. And I'm trying to ask like officially or unofficially. And they're saying a little bit more efficient. You might be given like a job or something, even though it's with Adam and you're there to kind of participate as maybe a workshop goer, a guest or whatever. But it's kind of like I see you in a more of a teacher role instead of just absorbing like you just did, Okay. I don't know if you did any dancing last time with Adam,
Yeah.
but they're asking you to participate in the dance, and it's almost as if you'll be dancing as with them and as them. So
yeah.
And they are saying that it's the same group that's coming forward right now, like the collective that we spoke about last time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that kind of collective going, like whoever's going to be attending is just coming in now, but they're really requesting your dance. And to really like let go, and in two ways. One, just let go and dance. And the second one is to let go of your own self-judgment when you do it. Because when you self-judge, it kind of weakens and diminishes the importance of the dance in their honor and in your honor, because you're there to honor yourself in addition to honoring the land and the water and the wind and etc. So they're asking that you participate in the movement more, if there's that opportunity. Did you dance last time?
No, there wasn't an opportunity.
Okay.
But I've seen it. So where I got all the zhuzh was coming back to a different reference point that I've had, where I've seen myself as an indigenous person dancing very vividly. I'm like, wow, I actually know how to do that. Like, I know how to do it. Like, I know what the dances are.
And you're not alone. So they embody you at the same time. And that's why it seems like people who do dance within that kind of circumstance of being with like in a indigenous person's like group, a tribe or whatever, when they do dance, that's why you'll see people completely tranced out, because it's really, they've left and someone else has come in. So yeah, definitely dance. With Carlos,
that'll be the title of this podcast. Dance.
You know that Beach Boy song? I want to dance. I don't even know if that's the right words. I know dance is the right word. Carlos, you're actually attending and not teaching for Carlos, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yes, because you're not a teacher at all.
Nope.
It's like
you wouldn't allow it.
You're a face in the crowd kind of deal. How many people are supposed to be there?
There'll be like 15 plus.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm getting it might be a pretty big group, and you're one in the crowd. You might, they say, think as a human, I got no problem with leaving it all back. But they're asking you really to leave it all behind. When you go, wipe the slate, do whatever you got to do to like wipe the slate clean and go as a literal clean slate, because I'm saying by the time you get there, that's like in 2 weeks though, right?
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Yeah, it's like 2 weeks from tomorrow.
I'm being shown it's almost like you're like crawling and being like, oh my God, finally. And it's like you collapse when you get there. And this is metaphoric, but it's almost like you really have to just dump it, shed it, leave it here, and then go. And you'll feel in a much better mindset. So do your prep work, they said.
Yeah, that's going to be challenging because we have, my work, my day job is really, really busy, and it gets really, really busy starting tomorrow through next Wednesday.
Yeah. So, you can hunker down as much as you need to for that, but you got to shed it before you leave the place, leave their house.
Okay. Because I'm supposed to be on a call while driving down there.
Oh, they're not a fan of the call. I just get the word boundary in that, okay, fine, take the call. But like, make sure that's the only thing, and make sure you don't talk all the way down. Is that possible?
Oh yeah, it is. And I'm already thinking like how I can just like cancel that part of my day is going to be, I can make it happen. And that's just the way it's going to be.
I mean, they're saying that it won't be catastrophic. I mean, but it's almost like before, like if you have this call before, I feel like you're not going to have the call. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's going to be canceled or you're going to cancel it. I don't know. But hey, if it does happen, I feel like you drop it. Everything else you drop. Mm-hmm. Try your best. Pretend that you're not going to have the call. Then take the call. And then when you get somewhere, take your shoes off, put your feet in the dirt and shed again.
Mm-hmm.
Like wet, nasty dirt.
I can totally do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, this is just for your benefit, for you to really enjoy the experience. Are you guys taking a vow of silence?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But who knows? Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing less talky. Like either you guys are going to have like silence, big silent times, or they're requesting that you not be so participating and like you also like block out silences for yourself where you're silent with your mouth. And then other times be silent with your mind. Shut it off. Good luck with that.
Well, so yesterday I saw myself. So I guess I am preparing subconsciously and somewhat consciously, right? And saw myself just sitting there and observing and sitting with the energy and determining what's mine, what is someone else's. Because there are some jarring personalities and there's some folks that just when you come in, it's like you got it all kind of figured out. Right? So when you sort through that for the first couple of days, part of this energetic work is me having a better feel for what actually belongs to this physical body and what exists outside of me. Like coming into this phone call, I felt a shortness of breath. And I'm like, was that mine or is that someone else's? Like, well, it's not yours.
I got it someone else's.
Yeah. Right. So now I'm noticing like some of these, like there's no reason for me to feel anxious all of a sudden. So understand the relationship with that. So that was my mental preparation and exercise ahead of this time with Carlos. There's a lot of sitting and listening is to kind of just keep my mouth shut relative to other experiences that I've had there because I don't know as much as I did before. Well, I don't think I know as much as I did before. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm just going to sit and enjoy that time because I have not had 4 or 5 days to myself since the pandemic started.
Yeah. And if you even want to take it as far as, because you're going to know some people there, if you want to take it as far as this, the suggestion coming through is, have you ever seen the movie Eat, Pray, Love or Love, Pray, Eat or whatever?
Yeah, some time ago. Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, she's like in India and somebody takes a vow of silence and she has a sticker on that says like, I can't respond. I'm in my silent time or something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm in a vow of silence. It's almost like you put something on yourself to indicate, all right, at this moment, I am only me sitting here. Nobody else is around. Yeah, this is quite important, this whole like listening thing. So I'm glad you got something on that too, because now it's hammering home.
Yeah.
How important it is to actually be served and not served for these 4 or 5 days. And you're not in charge of this. And this is great for you. You know, it's something that you're not in charge of, you're not responsible for. The only thing you're responsible for is your own experience within the space. So
it feels very liberating in you saying that, because I'm always quick to want to volunteer. And even then, like, it's like, hey, we need volunteers to plan dinner. And like, great, I'll bring wine. I mean, we don't drink wine when we're there, but it's like, I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah. They're saying don't,
yeah.
and don't. And if you, like, you can just explain it and people understand, like you're not going to be disappointing. They're also saying specifically, don't feel like you have to entertain or fill the void, Chris. You know, like with like, you know, it's like quiet in the room, like embrace the quiet and don't feel like, oh, I know that person. Hi, how are you? Let's catch up and don't sit next to the whisperers, you know, like, oh my God, I love this, you know, like really like, I mean, and you can be honest about it. I'm saying it's a safe space. And if you have to say something, you know, just be like, listen, I'm going to do this is what I'm doing, or I'm going to sit over here by myself if you don't mind. No offense. Yeah. Okay, great. It's like a supportive environment.
So do you see me driving down there by myself or with someone else?
With someone else. Is Meredith not coming?
No.
I get you're not alone.
Okay. There's carpool like options, right? But I'll be driving, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's okay because you're driving there and it's fine.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to bring this back to the vulnerable part of the heart.
Yeah.
And that's something that was thrown out there in our last coaching session together, which proved to be very wonderful advice, because there's a very subtle difference between the vulnerable part of the heart and the others. And the vulnerable part is interesting because that's where a lot of the vibrations are happening for me. Like when I hear, it's here, right? Here. And I suspect that this has all been in advance even of this part to San Diego, but even more so. And like the true language, the most effective form of communication is feeling. And the least effective form of communication would be words. So as I've been playing since Friday with energetic feeling, and for a few weeks now since our last session with the vulnerable part of the heart, there are a lot of similarities in where that actually sits in my body. Is there another connection with the vulnerable part of the heart? Because it feels to me like that and this like semi-vowel of silence are one and the same, because it's meant for me to feel and listen and trust and identify, because that's the real language and the real effective communication between dimensions or planes or fields, as opposed to words.
Mm-hmm. So I heard the word hands. I saw connecting with people through hands and feeling through hands. But I'm getting the word receiver, and I'm seeing, those really old phonographs that look like a shell and they're broadcasting. It's actually the reverse coming in. So if you have opportunities to take your hand into somebody else's, and I'm not talking handshake because that's different. There's a different intention. Holding hands is very important for this. Now, I don't know, like, if they're like, what are you guys going to do or whatever, but it's almost like if you were to be that cone that's absorbing and you just grab people's arms, there's a lot that you can get just from that thing. And actually I'm feeling it right now. And I feel, whoa, like you're really maximizing your listening with these hands. And it's really uplifting, and it's really filling in a lot of gaps for you. And I can't even speak what they are because it's all feeling. It's all things I can't have words for. Mm-hmm. So hands. Even if an old friend of yours, doesn't matter, male, female, or whatever, just be like, hey, can I hold your hand for just a moment? And just grab their hand and just open yourself a couple seconds. You'll know when to let go and just be like, thank you so much. Awkward.
No, not at all. That's like completely unbreaking for me. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
It would be awkward for me to be like, excuse me. Can I hold your hand for just a minute? Okay, great.
So little COVID secret. Someone I met yesterday in the neighborhood shook my hand and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like double vaxxed, right?
I'm getting, you don't need to be afraid at this. Just, of course, if someone didn't want to have your hand connected to theirs, it's fine.
Right.
Sanitize.
No, that feels good. So is there anything else around San Diego? And I feel like this is just kind of like the launching pad, those couple of weekends. It's all one big launching.
Well, I see you in the middle of a lotus flower. It's closed up. And then I see you just kind of open, and you're sitting in like just in the middle of it. And then as you're sitting there, I'm seeing just this, like with the flower is very alive and very respondent to you. Yeah. Because I'm asking, what does it mean? They're like, not important. What it means. That's what is happening when you go there.
Yeah. That'll be more than enough.
Okay.
Even if I don't make it all the way to Jerusalem, I think this will be just fine.
Can I interject real quick? Because earlier when you were talking about, I forgot what you were talking about actually. You were talking about something before you asked about Carlos and Adam, because you had other questions, but one of the things, about the volcano and everything. But I don't think we were talking about that. I think, okay, here's what I just saw. Here's what I saw when that happened. I saw you at the end of a pier. You had a jean jacket on. And because I'm asking, was he alone? Was it with people? They're like, it doesn't matter. Just, he's at the end of a pier. You're at the end of the pier and you're looking into the ocean and you are kind of fixated on the power of the ocean. And you're seeing the swirls and the waves. And then you're thinking about it molecularly. You're thinking about it through an ecosystem, like what's under there. You're thinking about it through what is on the bottom of the ocean, what's swimming through the ocean, what is traipsing between the real ocean, like what kind of bacteria and things like that. And then you're taking it out to looking at it as a collective, as a lung for the earth, as a filter for the earth. So you're fixating it from the tiniest bit all the way out to how it manipulates people's lives, how it can be the worst thing that you've ever experienced if you're in a ship in a storm, or even your ship sinks and you're just out in the middle, that's like the worst part of the ocean. But then the best part is when people like, why do you think people go to the sea? They all go because there's something in the power of the sea that people want to swim in, and they want to see, and they want to see for miles and miles. So I'm seeing you just thinking about all of this, and all of a sudden you take off your jean jacket and you jump in, and it's almost like you could understand the ocean and you become Trident. Trident, like the sorcerer of the sea, is a god, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a god. You become like Trident, where all of a sudden you just kind of like part the sea a little bit, and where you're standing on the bottom. But it's almost like I can see the water and you can just move the water around you. You can kind of make the water tumble in front of you and then kind of shrink back up again. Yeah.
So, dirty little secret.
You're trying it?
I think we can do that.
What?
I think we can do that.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm asking the significance of that. And they said it has to do with just understanding where your place is. You got a very good sense of self because you understand things from the molecular level all the way to the grand scheme of things. And this gives you a one up in the work that you do. And it also, with the manipulation of the sea, it's like once you understand something, you don't have to know everything about it to understand how it works and how to use it as a tool and how to bend it to what you need it to be for you.
It's not possible at a human level to necessarily comprehend the mechanics behind it.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Right.
But from a molecular perspective, and I've spent, of course, quite a bit of time noodling on this over the past couple of weeks.
Already?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, before I even mentioned it.
Yes. That's why the dirty little secret. And I was thinking about technology, and I was viewing this plant that I was looking at a cellular level. Like I was looking through a microscope. And so then we're getting to the cellular structure, and then the electrons and protons and neutrons and bosons and gluons, and there's more. And that's still in 150, 200 years, there's going to be like there's just more and more and more and more and more space in between all of these. Right. And we're built the same way. So we're really just space or information that has organized the different vibrations and frequencies and wavelengths that are around us to appear a certain way in this particular moment. And I was like, wow, like here we are, we create all of these technologies and tools and computers and phones and rockets, and we're sending people to Mars and flying helicopters on Mars. And it's like, and yet this technology that we've inherited here on Earth is so advanced and so self-sustaining and so supportive and forgiving of what we actually do to it and how we mistreat and misuse it. And yet it just ebbs and flows like the universe does, and the multiverse, and consciousness, and the one consciousness source. And then I'm looking at, and I think the retreat with Adam kind of kicked this off, and how that wasn't necessarily sorcery or astrology. That's science and astronomy from 50,000 years ago. And being able to communicate with and understand the environment in which we exist, plants, birds, trees, rivers, oceans, et cetera. So then being able to communicate in some way, it may not be the most obvious way in terms of language, but that feeling, right? And that sense of knowing, it's like, okay. So maybe that leaf is somewhat sentient that I'm looking at right now, and can understand the frequency and the vibration and the energy that I'm putting out there. And so the technology, so kind of bringing this back and thinking about these things molecularly is, okay, we're just fucking space. That's it. We're just right. And so to that end, then why doesn't this experience then just become really playful and fun? And knowing that from space thou art, and to space thou shalt return, right? and when I was talking about buying a house here in Santa Monica, and there's one part of my reality is like, well, we're never going to be able to afford it, and I'm like, well, of course we can. We just have to order it up. We just have to tell whatever spirits are out there that this is what we're going to do. Right. So I'm certainly not coming from a place of lack from that perspective. And that begins to create more dissonance with the day job. It's like, all right, fine. I'm like, we'll sort through that. So I'm still working on the balance of the understanding and the time suckiness of it, alongside of the work at hand, because they don't necessarily have to be disconnected. Right. I don't have to give up one for the other. It's all of it at once. And so as I was just kind of waxing philosophically about molecular structures, and you were smiling, that's kind of where they were going with it, right?
Yeah. I guess to show that you're all on the same page. Like, we've been watching you noodle over this, sir.
When I meditate, I'm going to look at the cellular structure of this, right? Yeah. Things just happen when you close your eyes and listen. Okay, so I owe Adam a phone call, right, to get things in July done and organized. Carlos, we're good. Like the whole silence thing, or certainly taking a super, super, super back seat to the entire experience resonates, and it's tracking. If we end up doing ayahuasca, And of course, when I say that, that'll be outside of San Diego on a different planet, far away.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to look for Xenon and ask for that particular guide and see what they have for me. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then was there anything, some more nature and spirit stuff to communicate around where we are living?
Yeah, let's do that. Because I already got little trickles while we were just talking. You were talking about all of that, and they're like, hello.
An agenda, McCann.
Like, no. Actually, I'm getting a mixture of indigenous, and these are some of the spirits that were with you around Adam. They're also with you now, and there's something beneficial for them as well.
Okay.
Being around you. So it's a give and take, actually. Okay, so you have an old woman in your house too.
Yeah, good. Let's talk about her.
Let's talk about the old woman. It's kind of a personality where it's like, now that I'm looking at her, she's like, no, I'm not here. You know, like, no, I don't. It's not that she's not willing to talk to me. It's like her personality. It's like, give me attention. And all of a sudden, when everyone's looking, it's like, oh, no, it's fine, you know. So kind of like, it's definitely an old lady, but it's an old lady who dyed her hair black. So you never saw like how old she was. She was like black hair, not gray, and someone who loved her nightgowns.
Okay.
And I'm talking like long, flowy nightgowns, almost like heavy velvet, even though like we're in like Southern California, and like even long sleeves. I'm seeing like red, like maroon velvet almost, and like really sweltering looking like garments. She was definitely, she says she wasn't a witch, but she should have been. She was definitely an eccentric. She did not live in your house. She lived in a house nearby, but it wasn't your house. And she's very attracted to your energy. She's not trying to interfere. She does kind of, even though I'm giving her a little bit of attention right now, like now she's really opening up. Mm-hmm. She doesn't intend to disturb anything, which is, she's like, hopefully you don't know I'm around. But she helps with some things, or she wants to be helpful, right? When she was living, the reason why Santa Monica was good for her is that there were other kind of off characters and eccentrics around in the history of Santa Monica. So it's almost like she was undetected, but if you were to throw her, let's say, in the middle of Arkansas, I mean, they would have thrown stones at her and chased her out of town. She was like, just definitely not with the status quo here. Mm-hmm. A lot of makeup, very heavy makeup. When she was younger, she had a very, very active social life. She never married. She didn't have any kids. Men were her drug.
Oh, no wonder we get along.
Yeah. She loved to party, and she loved the attention because she was a very beautiful young woman. And definitely very alluring because of because there were a lot of people trying to act like they were cool and different, but like she really was. And it was like, you didn't have to sell it. It was just like people knew. And there was something very haunting and alluring about that attracted people to her. And she did have friends who were girls, definitely, and a couple of suitors who were girls as well. And mainly men though. And because I'm like asking her, why didn't she become like a witch? And she said there were some around, but she didn't really want to be associated as and dismissed as someone who's crazy and kooky. Like she had enough of that going on that was still kind of on the cool side. And if she had actually like, you know how like people are born, you know, homosexual or they're born in a different body. Like she was born knowing that she had this attraction to energy and moving and manipulating energy. And yet she didn't pursue that because of her surroundings and her human nature did not allow for her to let go enough to pursue that. So that's why she's hanging around now. It's like, you're an energy guy and she's just kind of watching. I get that she's actually more on the outside of your house than on the inside because she does not feel as if, has she been on the inside? Okay. Well, she's
only like in the front.
She tries to stay on the outside.
Yes. When I first saw her, it was by the front door. I'm like, hi, and went out. Like I wasn't supposed to see her.
Okay. Well, because
unless there's a different one.
I don't want to like say that she's dishonest. She's like, I'm not dishonest. I try to stay outside. I was reluctant when I was saying that earlier. I was like, but she says that what she's trying to do now is like hang out with the plants and like, it's almost like she's like, oh, I want to help with the plants. Okay. I don't need help with the plants, but she feels like she wants that kind of job, which where,
right.
Yeah, where she's overlooking, like she's overtaking or just like kind of watching over the plants and stuff outside because she feels like she can do that. And yeah.
She can watch over them inside the house too if she wants.
She said thanks.
There's a couple that can use her attention.
Definitely will.
Okay.
But can I ask you as Christina, how involved do you want her? And are you going to do you want any boundaries with her? Because I feel like now you've given her permission to come inside and be with the plants. It's like, she's going to be around.
Well, I mean, she doesn't need to disturb anyone else and don't disturb us in our sleep. Right. Take it easy on the dogs, but we have some plants that could use some love and some attention. And if she's capable and desirous of helping these plants heal and feel at home, we'd be very grateful for that.
She said, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
She's being humble, but she's actually really excited about it. She's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Out of the corner of our eyes. It's totally fine.
When you just got the job that you wanted, it's like, it's like,
it's why I used to get really nervous growing up Catholic, after my grandmother passed away, when I masturbated, my grandma could see me masturbating, could see all the things I do to myself in the basement of the house. So now it's like, yeah, whoever's watching, let's go. Anybody outside the window?
I had similar thoughts with my dad. When my dad passed, I'm like, if I ever get busy with a guy, am I going to be like, Dad? My dad's watching. Oh my God, So I have said out loud the rules for him because, there's rules.
Right, rules are good. So she said hi to Robin when Robin was sleeping up here in the casita. I've seen her. And felt her presence a couple of times. So that's that level of communication is completely appropriate and fine.
Okay. Because she actually asked me, and this is kind of crazy. She keeps asking me and I'm like, how do I phrase this? So she showed me standing over your bed, watching you and Meredith. She's asking, oh, is this something I can watch? And I said, I don't think so. Thing.
Like, I want to watch too.
Okay, well then that's why she's asking. No wonder. I was like, and she kept asking like a paragraph ago when we were talking, and I kept seeing her standing over your bed, and I couldn't see anything happening on your bed, but I knew what was happening, and I'm just like, she's asking. She keeps asking. She keeps asking. Asking.
Right. She was asking me over here. Right. Yeah. They're a little way.
I guess she's asking, like, even this I can see, like, this is okay. But anyway, you set the rules. You can talk to her. I mean,
I'll let her know. We'll keep that.
You'll do your thing. If you sense her around and you don't want her somewhere, then you can kick her out.
I don't want to set anyone else in the house off. Right. Yeah.
Well, she'll listen. I can feel that. She'll definitely listen. And, and if she does go over a boundary, all you got to do is be like, back on your paper. And she'll, okay. Sorry.
Nice. That's cool.
But yeah. Okay. So that's the only spirit I see, actually, besides the ones visiting from Adam's Hooray and all that.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. No, this place feels really good. Like, this space just feels really energetically.
Yeah.
Yep. Really happy. Nothing crazy here. Woman. So then, working it back from there, we have a volcano.
Yeah.
The last of it. And then I've got a couple of items.
Yep. All right. Volcano.
Make the most of it. So
abundance. That's all I hear with the volcano.
Yeah. Right.
Abundance. Like, it's, you're diving into an abundant place, whatever you're diving into.
I don't think there's any way to screw it up.
Exactly. I think that's the whole message. It's like, right. You land in the middle, you land on the side, you land on the other side. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm sitting with now is just helping. Right. I have enough of my own shit to work on, enough of my own stuff to clean up and work on. And it's, what is the phrase that I had heard? It doesn't matter. It's one thing to talk about my enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And it's another thing to put it out there as if I've arrived. I'm not sure shit has not happened. It's like, I know more. And then in knowing more, you kind of know less, but you know it all, but you don't know anything.
Right.
And when I was meditating the other day, it's like, just work on yourself. And then if the spirit moves you, write about it. Like, that's enough. It's like, no, like, I can do that. Right. Because I was just getting overwhelmed. Right. And just lots of ideas. I'm like, oh. It's like, okay. So it's just a lot of like, just work on yourself. But the component I was sitting with this morning, which is great. It was a great experience to have over the last couple of days, was just helping, right? And so one of the things I've really enjoyed about being back in Santa Monica, but more specifically this neighborhood, is people walk by and you get to meet them. I get to meet my neighbors. My dogs made a run for it yesterday, and it's the gentleman whose hand I shook. He's like, hey, I was in there not masturbating. I was eating something and my front door was open. I was masturbating with a ghost, right? And I was like, come here, Demi, come here, Whoopi. That was a wrong ghost, right? But
whoa, my love.
Yes. And so Eric's like, hey, he's like, your dog's made it out. I'm like, okay. So Kingston loves to go eat fertilizer, right? So he has been just over at the neighbor's house, over there munching on her flower bed. And then Bailey was just wandering up the street. So I was like, Bailey Marie, come back here. And she came back in. She got a middle name, but she just kind of And Kingston I had to go get, and he comes, he's got dirt all over his face, and he's like happy as heck. And then I went back and I was talking to Eric. I'm like, this is great. And then our other neighbor came by, and I hadn't seen them in a while. I was like, oh, hey, Morgan. I'm like, how are you? Right. And then, Marty walks by with his dog, and I'm like, wow, like I've been here 4 weeks, and now I'm running into people. Like I told you yesterday, like it was someone I ran into whose dog went after Kingston. And then I ran into 2 days later and we talked for half an hour. I was like, yes, of course you're going to come sit in my backyard, and you're going to come, and you're going to come. So it's really neat to see how all that comes together and to experience it with a little bit more awareness now. But the reason why I'm sharing that is because it's around service. And the experience of saying, hey, here's my phone number. If you need anything, let me know. Call me. Sometimes we have people over. Do you want me to let you know when that happens? Like, yeah, of course. And it's just helping. And so that feels really, really strong to me now, or stronger now, the service aspect. And it's less about Chris as an individual. No one's going to remember me in 200 years.
Never know.
They'll remember our generation. They'll remember because they'll read it somewhere about what happened with COVID or racism or whatever incidents are yet to come in the next 40, 50 years. But they'll remember the collective and what we did or didn't do. And so to me, losing my sense of self into the we feels really appropriate. And the we is giving my phone number to Connie and saying, hey, if you ever need a hand with anything, just give me a call. Let me know. The same, and having Luciano and Hugh and Liam right around the corner from us, and having family where we can take care of each other when someone's sick, right? Like, yeah, like that feels really good. And that, quite frankly, to me now is becoming more than enough.
We get the peanut gallery in here. They give a very gentle yes. Not a yes, yes, yes. Not a yes, yes, yes. It's a yes. And it's like it's significant. The feeling of just I see almost like tumbleweed. It's like you become part of the tumbleweed and you're all kind of going together, and then you jump out and you're in another tumbleweed. But the tumbleweed is actually humans as people all together going for a little ride together, and then another ride and another ride. And everybody's jumping from one tumbleweed to the other and just letting the wind take you very gently. Just roll.
Yeah, better we're all reels on some alien's Instagram feed and they're just swiping left on us.
Wow. Let me see if I get an insight about that. So is it that you want validation, or you have an actual question around that?
There's no question. It's just where I was this morning.
It's just like this flow, almost like a school of fish too. How like fish, they don't bump into anything.
Nope.
Kind of go together, they just have this way of swimming together. And then it's like, yeah, they don't run into anything. If something comes up, they all change or they split and then come back together.
Do you notice that humans do that too, though? Like if you go to Grand Central in New York or Manhattan and you just watch rush hour from one of the balconies and just the patterns of people.
Really?
The same instincts.
Yeah. Well,
we just forget.
Yeah, I think so. Because in Seoul, I ran into somebody every 2 minutes. So that's also the culture. They're pushy.
Right. But that's part of the dance, right?
It's part of the dance. People run into you. And then, if I saw, the people who move people the most, like physically move them out of the way, are the tiniest, oldest little grandmas. The ajumma, really the harmony, the grandmothers, the ajumma, the aunties, the middle-aged women that have been through a lot, And if there's a subway coming and it's just shoulder to shoulder, boob to back, full packed, I'm like, oh, I'm not getting on this. I find the tiniest, oldest grandma and I get behind her because I know she's going on and I'm coming right behind her. You know? And then we're all like pushing together. So
I love that.
I got on every time if I did that. Otherwise, I'd be there for an hour waiting for the trains to pass with no people on them anymore, you know?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. But yeah, people forget that you have that instinct as well. You're right.
Yeah. I was just watching the birds yesterday and I was with Kingston, just watching the seagulls flying over. And then I saw off on the cliff, like a red hawk. Like, oh, it's weird to see a hawk over here and just doing its thing. And everything's just got a rhythm and an ebb and a flow to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of my Hawaii trip, watching a lot of surfing videos now. I'm watching the crazy surfing videos of like giant waves, but I'm also watching the relaxing ones from like drones where it's just people just catching nice waves. And, you know, they don't have like the professional level skill level. So it's like a lot of people trying to catch the same wave and the instincts kick in when three people catch the same wave. First of all, I'm pretty sure there's a protocol, but second, you can't always see everybody in the wave. And then as the surfers come to that person, it's like they're all riding instinct, really. You can't think when you see someone's head bobbing in a wave and you got to avoid it. It's like you go around it instinctually. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It's like you got an instinct, you turn them on. You put your head in it, you're out of the arena.
Mm-hmm. Humanity.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Dr. Dan, really quick. That was fun. I'm going to go see Dr. Dan again this Friday morning, and I'm really excited to see. It's Dr. Daniel Ryan. If you're playing at home, it'll be really fun to see like where the next session goes with him.
That is an interesting thing coming up too. I feel like you guys might do something together. And this might be the time where you both kind of look at each other and go, what if we put something together? Like there'll be maybe a moment of where you're like, you know what? I think that would be pretty powerful for somebody. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like this Friday is going to be that time when it's going to start to roll. You feel like you're going to be working with him? And I'm talking more of a workshop-y basis, not particularly like writing a book or anything, you know?
Yeah. That's come up for me before, not since I saw him last Friday, but like, and there's a reason why it was always just like, he'd come up for me every few months. And I was like, well, you know, always, and I just wondered about what that collaboration would look like.
Yeah. I'm seeing it a little bit, maybe more so than you right now, or maybe you are, but, it wouldn't be an ongoing, it would be like a workshop almost. And it's just you two at first. So there's like a little bit of a magic between you guys, right? And it's like, I don't think you guys are conscious of how you can spin that for the benefit of others. So that's kind of a journey in itself where you put the magic together and then something's going to happen with that.
Okay.
But I'm seeing workshop-y kind of deal, maybe a small scale in his office even. I don't know how big his office is.
Where I saw him in group, you could probably feel like 100 people in there.
You know, I saw it big and I was like, because I did see it big and I was like, but he's got a little office because you're saying it's the office. And he's like, and I'm being told, not necessarily. And I'm like, but how much room do you need to be a chiropractor? But yeah, that makes more sense if you tell me it's 100.
All right.
Yeah, something about that. And then, yeah.
And here's what the fun part of this for those still listening at home is I don't want to know the details. I want them just to happen automagically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing, you guys being together, They're not seeing what you're doing together. And that's why it's like, do you have a magic together? It's like, really your answers, but they're not telling you much more than that.
No, there's certainly some things I want to be able to learn from him, but even if it's just 2 sessions where he's just giving me validation of what I'm feeling, and then I see like little balls of like energy in my hand, like, oh, like, okay, that's what that is. It's like, good. So it's like just more tools in the tool belt.
Yeah. But also I'm getting more of, you'll be inviting him more than he's inviting you.
And how do you mean?
Oh, ding. That was perfect timing. Like he's going to get it, but he's not a loner, but he's like, he works alone. So it's almost like you're kind of a collaborator by nature. And so you're going to be like, what do you think what do you think this would look like for you if maybe we did something together, whatever that may be, fill in the blank. And then he's going to, oh, okay. It's almost that kind of situation where, but you'll feel like it's not out of the left field that you're going to ask him. Right. It's almost like you're the one that's going to move this forward first. You're going to spark it up. Yeah. You're going to be completely on board and like, well, duh.
I can totally spark it up.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. There's something there for sure. And it felt like we were more peer-ish in nature.
Yes.
Right.
Both very professional. It's different for you guys.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll let you know Friday afternoon how things go.
Yeah. Give me a call. I'm ready.
All right, and I have 2 more practical questions for you before we wrap. Yeah. One, I had this wonderful idea of like a package for leadership or mentoring. Could be coaching. I know that word still bothers me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Doing 6-week sprints, right? So we have a project, we have an epic, we have one thing that we're working on, then little sub stories, and we meet like 4 out of the 6 weeks for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes, and we tackle some of the biggest issues that someone's working on. So it's very targeted, very specific. It's not just showing up and waving the magic 8 ball and waiting for something to happen. Perhaps someone wants to actually learn how to trust their instincts more, right? That's one. Maybe somebody else is working on a project for work and needs some help with that, right? So like big, gnarly projects that people have and providing some coaching around that. So
interesting that you bring that up. This has been on my mind all week and now it makes sense. It wasn't for me because I was seeing like on a corporate level, coach. But I knew it wasn't for me. It's for you. This makes sense. So as soon as you started launching into it, I could see it all. Yes, definitely. 6-week sprints, 4 out of the 6 weeks. Yeah, everything that you were saying, except the way to get the client is through the corporate channel, not the individual.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
I got that so clear more than anything else all week. It's like, go straight to the corporation and you're working with a team that leadership is or a project and they need you to come in as a spiritual strategist and get everyone in tune, on board, whatever needs to be done, you can see it and move it forward. And so that it gets unstuck or it gets better or whatever. And this is a corporate level thing. Okay. And I'm getting, there's a heck of a lot of money to be made because when you charge a corporation and they're footing the bill, you can charge.
Okay. So that makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
I'm getting go from the angle of like special teams, like football. It's like special teams, Oh, they're calling out the special teams, which is just like the the person who kicks the field goal or whatever,
Right.
you know, like, and the protectors or whatever. But it's like that special teams mentality. It's like you go into a company of like a dead zone and you spruce it up. That makes total sense. I can see it on your face.
Yep.
Yeah.
This has been coming for a couple of years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good because that's what I feel so electric right now. Like it's like bingo. Now
Right.
I'm getting do one at a time. Don't do two, whatever. But go high on the charge. Of course, you're not afraid of money. I know that. But go high on the charge with the corporation because it's a corporation. And this is going to allow you to do the other work that we've been talking about
Right.
without pressure, without, the strain financially.
Yeah, just wanted to help.
Yeah, you just want to help. And so you can continue to do that. This is the means to do it.
It's clever bastards. All right.
They just told us that last,
Right.
well, here we are. Like, no, jump through all this fire. Oh, congratulations. Now we'll let you know. It's
Yes,
like,
now achieve 6-week sprints. Ding, 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 ding.
go into the dead zone of a company and make it the alive zone.
Well, at least while I'm doing that, then our friend who's not named will be able to take care of the plants and bring those out of the dead zone. That's funny. So I wanted to talk to you about the 6 weeks. And then this course. So I've got this course kind of sitting there. And it's, rooted in transpersonal psychology, some borrowed exercises, some fully cannibalized exercises, some that were downloaded, on my own, other things that are just experiences that I had that weren't necessarily channeled. And I want to launch that as a way to increase visibility. It's pretty much done, right? So we've got muscle and marketing dollars behind the social channels, YouTube, setting up the course, etc. I just need to do some videos there, and I'm good. I'm having a bit of a challenge with the name of the course.
Oh, okay.
I hear a lot of things, and it would be nice if it was just a little bit snappier.
Okay.
So there's like originally when this came to me around about a year ago, it was on purpose, how to find your own answers and truly live.
I got to snore back.
Yeah. Well, thank you. They gave it to me. Right? Yes. Right. What are they hissing now?
Laughing because I'm just like,
right. The art of living well, or the art of truly living. I like that. Right. I like how to find your own answers. Certainly. I'm sure not any of these are really tracking, and I could probably use a copywriter, but what's a good tagline? How to go from the dead zone to the live zone in 6 weeks or less.
I got two different things. Hold on, because it's like. First thing I got, are you talking about the corporate or it's just a course for everybody?
It's a course for everybody.
Because I'm like, okay, if it's corporate, maybe you don't want to go this. It should be definitely clever, a little bit punny, maybe.
Okay.
And like, for example, like find your mojo or kill your monkey mind or something like that, But definitely, encapsulating the meaning of the course, what they can do. Bring your sexy back. Something, like something really clever and playful. Hold on. Like something like, fuck this, I need answers. That's what I got.
I love it.
Something in that lines. It's like, and then colon, how to find your own answers and truly live, because you do need a little description. It's like, what kind of title is that?
Right.
Or actually they're giving me more. It's like a 6-week course to dial into spiritual Google or to see your soul or something like that. A little bit more than just finding answers and truly living.
Right. Better results with spiritual Google.
What?
Better results with spiritual Google.
Better results. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Something like that.
I like, fuck this, I need answers.
Yeah, I need answers. How to get your own answers.
Fuck me, I need help. Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Right.
We'll tell you if you take the course, something clever like that, that's going to stand out a little bit, but it's also kind of brings in the energy you want for the course. It's like, yeah, that sounds good. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
good. Well, I know we're over an hour for sure.
Because they keep telling me, you didn't talk about the energy sucking.
Oh, we didn't talk about the energy sucking.
They could tell me. That's why I'm like, no, we're going till it's done. Okay. Over an hour, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you have another question?
Yeah, no, I'm good though. So 6 week, or the course is just the course. Just needs a better title. Got that. Thank you. Good on the redirection of the 6-week sprint, if you will. Right. And it's like, okay, I see it. It makes sense. It ties a lot together. Collaboration with nature, indigenous, San Diego, blah, 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 dance. And we're back to energy sucks.
Yes. They keep saying, don't forget. So I'm hunting you down here. Okay. Energy. They want us to talk about that, you and I. So I'm seeing just like Venn diagram, which has come up with us before. It's almost like these circles, and you're in the middle, of course. And it's like there's the corporate circle that you live in already. It's like really hard at the moment. And then there's family. And then there's your personal responsibility for yourself. That's another circle. And then there's like a miscellaneous circle. So there's like 4 circles, right? And there's like you in the middle. So I'm going through the corporate circle right now, and I'm getting the vibe on that. That one is right now, it seems to be a little bit over asking of you.
One could say that.
Yes. If you were to naturally kind of make it like, if you were just to go with the flow, maybe another 2 months of quote torture, and it would die down a bit. But that area, yeah, that requires a lot of energy, a lot of stamina. But okay, now let's look at the family. I am seeing some tension in the family area. I do want to be careful about that because I feel like there are a lot of family demands right now on you. And it's like you're in the corporate circle a lot more. And it's through no fault of your own. And it's almost like I can cut this out if you want, but it's kind of like you're being punished in some way for not equally being dismembered in all your directions. And I'm not just talking about family, I'm talking about other things too. And even for yourself, like you have cheated yourself out of time because of the corporate. But then also there's the miscellaneous, and those are random people that come in and out of your life, you know. Some of them you have the pleasure of being around and serving and hanging out with. But then there are some that come in and they're not malicious, but you're a very attractive character. And what they're doing is, like, you need to be very careful about identifying these people, because at this time, these are not serving you, these kinds of people. Do you know anybody I'm talking about? You don't say them.
One comes to mind.
Yeah. And this, because you're such an attractive person, like character, and you have a lot of things going for you, you tend to attract people who want to hang on to you so that you can kind of pull them forward with you. So I just want to, that's the main problem here, is that you just need to be very, a little bit more discriminate about who you choose to work with, who you choose to play with, who you choose to spend time with. Right now, female, but later, both, because you're just you're igniting an energy. So it's like moth to a flame, flies on.
Great. That makes sense. So I'm aware of this being a thing, right? Not that it was as, and I won't say dire is not the right word, but not that it's as urgent. But I think this is like this is foreshadowing, right? It's like this. I'm putting words in your mouth, but like this could get out of control if you're not careful.
Yes, you're exactly right. It's right. Just a little bit of a, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So I said no to Helen's training as much as I really wanted to do it, for many reasons. Right. And I sat with it and sat with it and sat with it and sat with it. And I'm like, and I'm looking at the commitment in terms of the paper, not the money, but just the actual time. And I was like, I have to say no to this. And that's what I talked to Helen. I'm like, I have to say no. Right. And it was awful because she's a teacher and a friend, and I just care about her deeply.
Right.
And no, like, I think it's great that you're actually like kind of putting your own flag in the sand. And this is just a metaphor for like actually what the lesson that you're referring to, but the other person. And it felt so good. Like that was a very pivotal moment for me to actually say no, because that's how I'm going to complain about not having enough time to work on these other things, because I'm filling up with stuff that's not part of the core mission. It's not the center of the volcano.
Exactly. That's you. You did it. You just said it brilliantly. I didn't have Helen in mind because, you know, she's doing her thing. It's just like, you got to make space for yourself, buddy. You got to make space for your life, buddy. You got to make space for your family, buddy. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's just like, whereas before it was almost like a free for all. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, sounds good. Yes, sounds good. And now it's like, wait a minute. Not the direction I want to go. I got other fish to fry over on this platter, and that's good for me.
Yep. Yeah. Nice. And Helen's not exactly who I had in mind for this, but it was just another example of that. So message received.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think the best thing to do is just, you know, pause before I make any sort of commitments.
Yes. And think about how, and yes, it could, class or course can be beneficial for you, but how does that fit into the tapestry is what it's down to.
Sounds like Meredith is home.
Is that her?
Yes, and trying not to run over a dog, I'm sure. Okay.
Well, on that note, if there's nothing else, I'll close your records, but
right.
we'll say goodbye first. Thank you for allowing me to coach you.
Yes, we're going to publish this. I think it's really, really important before we start getting busy again with interviewing people to kind of see real time what it is that you bring to the table. So there's some high-minded activity, right? There's some that's very core to our essential being, and then being able to get down into brass tacks where it's a more human, like naming a course or making business decisions.
Yes.
You are such a gift, and it's been such a privilege to have you alongside me on this part of my journey over the last, I guess it's been like a year, right? Ish, maybe.
It has. You know why I know that? It's a year in June.
Okay.
I was going through files and I saw in June our record.
Wow. Nice.
It's been a year.
Yes. It's been a year. It's been a great year. And it's what it's done for me. And certainly, and you've seen some very high highs. And then some we're just going to talk about getting your own house in order sort of conversations. And we trust that source and spirit, guides us and leads us in the right way. I wanted to have someone be able to say, well, what's an experience like with Christina, to be able to take a look at this and get a full feel for what it is that you bring to the table, because you deserve that, and you're awesome and you're incredible. And I love you. And I'm very grateful for you.
Wow. Thank you. I don't even, anything I say now is just like, like now that you've said all that, what can I say?
It sounds like Bailey has a whole bunch to say.
Because it's like Meredith's home.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I have kind of made an agreement with myself because I'm feeling different now for a lot of reasons. And you know what? I'm going to just open up and I'm going to receive that now. And thank you also for all of the kind words and for trusting me with the inner depths of your soul. And I'm hearing, don't forget about us, your team beyond.
Yeah.
Who, I think one session we had is just dad joke after dad joke after dad joke. And it just got cheesy. And I was just like, my gosh. They still have a sense of humor. Nothing. Today was different, but nothing too dad jokey like that today. So.
No, today was different for sure.
Every time is. So thank you. All right.
Let's publish this motherfucker.
Let's do it. See you later, Chris.
Bye, Christina.